Samsaradava Nalalidalokara Trinaya Karuna Gana Ganatam Samsaradava Nalalidalokara Tranaya Karuna Gana Ganatam Praptasya Kalyanam Gurunanavasya Vande Guru Shicharanara Vrindam Praptasya Kalyanam Gurunanavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrinda Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrinda Charanara Vrinda Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrinda Mahaprabhu Kir Tananita Gita Vaditramadhyam Manasurasena Romanchakampasru Tarangavajo Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Shri Vigrara Dana Nityanana Shingara Tanama Diramarjanado Juktasya Bhaktamsa Niyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasada Satvana Triptam Hari Bhakta Sangha Kritva eva truptim bhajato sadeva Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Shiradikama Dabayara Para Madhura Leela Gunarupa Namna Pratikshana Swa Dhanalalupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam Nikunjayuno Ratikeli Siddhai Jayali Veri Juktir Apekshaniya Tatrati Daksha Ativalavasya Bande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam. Sakshadharitvaina Shamasta Shastre Ruptastatthava Vataiva Sadhavi Sakyadhavi Kintu Praborja Priyaeva Tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam. Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada Yasya Prasada Nagati Kutapi Yasya Prasada Jayam Stovam Tasya Yasatrin Sandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanara. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Pachatya Deshatarine. Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shivasari Oh Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Go Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Yo Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Yaraya Namah, Krishna Jadavaya Namah. Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah. Gopal Govindaram Srimad Sudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhattaraguna. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasaraguna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha, Nila Madhava Radha, Nila Madhava Radhe. Jayo Jagannath, Jayo Baladeva, Jayo Subhadrama, Jayo Sudarshan Chakra. Jayo Sitaram, Jayo Sitaram. Sitaram, Jayo Sitaram. Sitaram, Jayo Lakshman Hanuman. Jayo Lakshmi Narasingha, Jayo Lakshmi Narasingha, Lakshmi Narasingha, Jayo Prahlad Maharaj. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo, Haribo. Jai Gaura Pramanande Haribo. Jai Vishnu Paraparamsa Prabhajaka Acharya Astuttara Sarasishya Mari Divine Grace Abhatravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Pratishta Bhiviti Samstapaka Acharya Vaishnava Siramani Patita Pavana Srila Prabhupada Ji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Gauriya Guru Varga Patita Udhar Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Guna Sadgoswami Prabhu Ki Jai Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ji Ki Jai Ananta Kuti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Param Dayal Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai Prema Nama Sankirtane Ka Janaka Prema Purushottam Shri Sachinandana Shriman Gauranga Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Mahavrinaya Avatar Ki Jai Golokera Pramadhan Harinam Sankirtan Jaga Ki Jai Jugadharma Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai Brihat Ndanga Transcendental Book Distribution Seva Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopakunda Radhakund Samakund Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Brajabhum Vrindavan Mathurdham Ki Jai Deloship Shri Shri Radha Nilamadhava Ki Jai Shri Shri Mayapur Navadvip Eka Chakradham Ki Jai Parama Karuna Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai Shri Purushottam Ketra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Swami Baladev Prabhu Samaspadra Devi Sudarshan Chakra Bhagwan Ki Jai Bhakti Sarva Vigna Vinashana Kanishanga Hare Bhagwan Ki Jai Sri Ram Lakshman Bhakta Hanuman Ji Ki Jai Jaganga Mai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Maharani Vrindi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Mathura Dharani Ki Jai Shamaveta Bhakta Vrindi Ki Jai Nitai Gaurari Pramanande. All glory to the Assembly bodies. All glory to the Assembly bodies. All glories to the Assembly bodies. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga. Haribu. You sing a prayer? Nobody? Thank you. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlada Vadana Haine. Hiranyakashipuvacha Silatangkanakalaye Ito Nishinha Parato Nishinha Jato jato jami tato nisingam Ahir nisingar daye nisingam Narasimhamadin sharanam prapade Abakara Kamalavare Naka Adbhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanabringa Kesavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadishare Jai Jagadishare Jai Jagadishare Tava Kara Kavana Naka Shingan Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanabringa Kesavadita Naradi Rupa Jai Jagadishare Jai Jagadishare Jaya Nishingare Jaya Nishingare Jaya Nishingare Jaya Nishingare Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Narahari Narahari Jaya Narahari Jaya Narahari Jaya Prahlad Maharajaya Prahlad Maharajaya Prahlad Maharajaya Prahlad Maharajaya Jai Shri Shri Bhakti Pada Sarva Vigna Vinashana Kali Shri Bhagavan Ki Bhakta Shrestha Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Lakshmi Narasingha Deva Ki Jai Gaura Pramanande Shri Vrindayai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satavatai Namo Namaha Vrindayai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satavatai Namo Namaha Vrindayai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satavatai Namaha Srimati Tulasi Maharani Brinda Devi Ki Jai
नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः
Tulasi Krishna Preyasi
नमः तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः
राधा कृष्णा सेवा पावो ए अभिलाषी
राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो ए अभिलाषी
राधा कृष्णा सेवा पावो ए अभिलाषी
राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो ए अभिलाषी
नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः
जितो मारा शरण लो तारा वंच पूरन हो
चितमार शरणला तारावंच पुन्हा
कृपा कोरी कोरो तारे वृंदावन वासी
तुम्ही कृपा करे कारा करे वृंदावनवासी
मुराए अभिलाष बिलास कुंज दियो वास
मोराए बेला विलास कुंज दियावा
नयने हरिवो सदा जुगल रूपरासी
नयने रिवो सदा युगल परासी
ए निवेदाना धारो साखीर अनुगाता कोरो
सकीरयनो गतकर
सेवा अधिकारा दिए कोरो निजदासी
सेवायादि करदिए करनि जदासी
दीना कृष्ण दासे कोए जिना मोरा होए
कृष्ण दास को हे नमोरा
श्री राधा गोविंदा प्रेमे सदा जीना भासी
श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेम सदा नवासी
श्री राधा गोविंदा प्रेमे सदा जीना भासी
श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेम सदा नवासी
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्माहत्यधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणाशन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणाशन्ति प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्मा हत्याधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणाशन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्मा हत्याधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणाशन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्मा हत्याधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणाशन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्मा हत्याधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणाशन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani
Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani Tulsi Maharani Jaya Tulsi Maharani
Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi
Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi
Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Srimati Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai
Shri Vrindai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Ke Sarasatya Vishnu Bhakti Pradi Devi Sattvatai Namah Vrindai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Ke Sarasatya Vishnu Bhakti Pradi Devi Sattvatai Namah Vrindai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Ke Sava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Pradi Devi Sattvatai Namah Srimati Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai O Tulasi, beloved Krishna, I bow before you again and again. My desire to obtain the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of you as wishes fulfilled, bestow your mercy upon him, you make me residence in pleasure groves of sugar and lam and ham. Thus within my vision, I will always behold the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of Gavadamis of Raj, This gave me the privilege to go from service and make me own mat servant. This very fallen and lowly servant Krishna praise. May I always say me love Shri Radha and Govinda Shri Mati Turush Maharani Pindi Devi Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Krishna Ki Jai. Jaito Radhanam Adhanam Mahada Adnimirvapam Shri Nakar Vivachandika Vitaranam Vidya Bhadujimanam Anandam Buddhimadhanam Vipalam Nadasaranam Sarvatmasnam Param Param Jai Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Kristakam Ki Jai Namo Mahavadana. Glory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart with the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life or repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan moment is the prime benediction for humanity at large. God is spreads the rays of the benediction moment. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we're always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings. And thus you have hundreds, millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There is no even hard and fast rule for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I'm so unfortunate I have no attraction for them. Once we chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself Lord on the street, one should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer our respect to others. In such state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. Only want your causes to go from service birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yes, somehow I'm falling in this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs in my body stand on end at the recitation of your holy name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I feel all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he surely meant so, even if sun doesn't roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He's
He is
completely
completely
free
free
to
to
do anything, everything. For His soul is my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shishya Stakum Ki Jai.
Namo Vishnu Krishna Vishnu Namaste Saraswati Devi Guru Vachani Visesa Sunyavadi Paskati Visata.
They are 10 offenses in matter of chanting the holy name of the Lord. They are as follows.
1. To blaspheme the devotees who dedicated their lives to propagating the holy names of the Lord.
2.
Consider names and demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma to be equal to independent names of Lord Vishnu.
3.
To disobey the orders of spiritual master.
4.
To blaspheme Vedic literature and pursuance of Vedic version.
5.
To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna as imagination.
6.
To give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord.
7.
To commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord.
8.
To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which were offered in the Vedas as fruit of activities through karmakanda.
9.
To instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
And 10.
Do not have complete faith in the chanting of holy names and maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions in this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must carefully guard against 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our most humble obeisance unto all Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desired trees that can fulfill the desires of everyone. And they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vanshiko patirabhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Vaishnava Thakur ki jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Pitri Srimati Bhakti Namaste Sarvati Srimad Bhagavatam Prantaraj ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janma Yasya Yato Niviyat Itaratascha Teso Vigyaswara. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muyanti Yatsurayaha. Tejo Varimadam Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisagomisha. Tamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. O my Lord Shri Krishna, son of Vasudeva.
O my Lord Shri Krishna, son of Vasudeva.
O all-pervading personality of God.
O all-pervading personality of Godhead.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth.
I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth.
And the primeval cause of all causes.
And the primeval cause of all causes.
Of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes.
Of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes.
He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations.
He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations.
And he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him.
And he is independent because there is no other cause beyond
him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji.
It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji.
The original living being.
The original living being.
By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion.
By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion.
As one is bewildered by the illusory representation.
As one is bewildered by the illusory representation.
Of water seen in fire or land seen on water.
Of water seen in fire or land seen in water.
Only because of him do the material universes.
Only because of him do the material universes.
Temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature.
Temporarily manifested by the reaction of the three modes of nature.
Appear factual, although they are unreal.
Appear factual, although they are unreal.
I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna.
I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna.
Who is eternally existent in its transcendental abode.
Who is eternally existent in its transcendental abode.
Which is forever free from illusory representations of the material world.
Which is forever free from the illusory representation of the material world.
I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth.
I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth.
Dharma Pujita Kaitravutra.
Dharma Pujita Kaitavutra,
Paramonya Matsaranam Satam.
Paramo Nivasranam,
Vedyam Vastavam Atravastu.
Vedyam Vastavam Astavastu,
Shivadam Tapatrayam Mulam.
Shivadam Tapu Trayomulanam,
Shrimad Bhagavate Mahamani.
Shrimad
Te.
Bhagavate Mahamuni,
Kimva Purir Ishwaraha.
Kimba Parishvara,
Sadyo Hridi Aburudyate Itra.
Sadhurudya Varudya Titra,
Priti Bihi Susursavistakshana.
Kritivhi Shushu Vishtakana,
Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated.
completely rejecting all religious activities which are material.
This
motivated.
Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth,
This Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth,
which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart.
which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in
The
heart.
highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all.
The highest truth, their reality, is distinguished from illusion for the welfare
Such
of all.
truth uproots the threefold miseries.
Such a truth uproots the threefold misery.
This beautiful Bhagavatam compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity
This beautiful Bhagavatam compared with this Vyasadeva's maturity
is sufficient in itself for God
is
realization.
sufficient itself for God realization.
What is the need of any other scripture?
What is the need of the other scripture?
As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam,
As soon as one attentive and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam,
by this culture of knowledge,
by this culture of
the
knowledge,
Supreme Lord is established within his heart.
the Supreme Lord is established within his heart.
Nigama kalpaturur kalitam phalam
Nigama kalpatoror galitam phalam,
sukhamukad amrita dravya samyatam
Shukamukha Adambrita Drab Sangitam,
pibata bhagavatam rasam alayam
Vivata Bhagavatam Rasavanayam,
mahur aho raska bhavibhavakaha.
Mura Hora Sika
O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam.
O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam,
The mature fruit of the desired true Vedic literatures.
the mature fruit, the desired tree of Vedic literature.
It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami.
It emanated from the lips of Shukadeva Goswami.
Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful.
Therefore, this food has become even more tasteful.
Although its nectarian juice is already relishable for all,
Although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all,
including liberated souls.
including liberated souls.
Shimvatam Swakata Krishna
Shramvatam Swakata Krishna,
Punya Ravana Kirtanam
Punya Shravana Kirtanam,
Hridyantak Stohi Bhadrani
Hridyantasto Bhadrani,
Vidu Noti Suhit Satam.
Vidu Noti Surit Satam.
To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures,
To hear about Krishna from the very Lord,
or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita,
or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad
is
Gita,
itself righteous activity.
it is self-righteous activity.
And for one who hears about Krishna,
And for one who hears about Krishna,
Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart,
Lord Krishna's dwelling within everyone's heart,
acts as a best wishing friend
acts as the best wishing
and
friend,
purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him.
and purifies the voice constantly engages in hearing him.
Nasta presu bhadresu
Nasta Prayesha Bhadrishu
nityam bhagavata sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Se
bhagavati uttama sloke
Bhagavati Uttama Sloki
bhaktir bhavati naistaki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Nastiki.
In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge.
In this way, the devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental
As he
knowledge.
hears more about Krishna from
As
the
he-
Bhagavatam
And he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam
and from the
and
devotees,
from the
he
devotee.
becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord.
He becomes fixed in devotional service of the devotee.
Tadarajas tamo bhava
Sadarajastamo Bhava
kamalova dayaschaye
Kamalovadayas
cheta itaranavidam
Chetaiteranavidam
ditam sattve prasidati.
Siddham Sadve Prasida.
By development of devotional
By
service,
development of devotional service,
one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance,
one becomes freed from the modes of passion of
and thus material lust and avarice are diminished.
and thus material lust and avarice are diminished.
Evam prasana manaso
Evam Prasanamanaso
bhagavat bhakti yogataha
Bhagavad Bhakti Yogata
bhagavat tattva vijnanam
Bhagavad Tattva Vijnana
mukta sangasya jayate.
Mukta Sangasya.
When these impurities are wiped away,
When its impurities are wiped
the
away,
candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness,
the candidates remain steady in his position of pure goodness,
becomes enlivened by devotional service,
becomes enlivened by devotional
and
service,
understands the science of God perfectly.
and understands the sense of God perfectly.
Vidyate hridaya grantis,
Vidya Vidyanti Vyanti,
chidyante sarvasamsaya,
Chidyante Sarvasam,
chiyante chasya karmani,
Chiyante Chasa
krishna
Karmani,
evatmanishvare.
Druta Ivan Manishwari.
Thus Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection
Thus the Bhakti Yoga serves the harness of material
and
affection,
enables one to come at once to the stage of a samsayam samagram,
and enables to come at once to the stage of Samsam Samagrama,
understanding of the supreme absolute truth personality personality of Godhead.
understanding the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead.
Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness
Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotees Krishna consciousness
can one understand the science of Krishna.
can one understand the science of Krishna.
Guru Vastika prayers. The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy, just as a cloud pours water on a forest fire to extinguish it.
The spiritual master is receiving the benediction from the ocean of mercy, just as the cloud pours water on the forest fire to extinguish it.
So the spiritual master delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence.
So the spiritual master delivers the material afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material
I
existence.
offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master who is an ocean of auspicious qualities.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master who is the notion of auspicious qualities.
Chanting the holy name, dancing in ecstasy,
Chanting the holy name and dancing in ecstasy.
singing and playing, singing and playing musical instruments.
Singing and playing musical instruments.
The spiritual master is always engaged in. Spiritual master is always gladdened by the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
The spiritual master is always gladdened by the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Because he's relishing the mellows of pure devotion within his mind.
Because he's relishing the mellows of pure devotion within his mind.
Sometimes his hair stands on end.
Sometimes his bodily hair stand on end.
He feels quivering in his body,
He feels quivering in his body.
and tears flow from his eyes like waves.
And tears flow from his eyes like waves.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual
The
master.
spiritual master is always engaged in the temple worship of Shri Radha and Krishna.
The spiritual master is always engaged in the temple worship of Shri Radha and Krishna.
He also engages his disciples in such worship.
He also engages his disciples in such worship.
They dress the deities in beautiful clothes and ornaments,
They dress their deities in beautiful clothes and ornaments.
clean their temple,
Clean the temple
and perform other similar worship of
and
the Lord.
perform other similar worship with the Lord.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master.
The spiritual master is always offering Krishna 4 kinds of delicious food.
The spiritual master is always offering Krishna 4 kinds of delicious food.
Analyzes that which is licked, chewed, drunk, and sucked.
Analyze as that which is licked, stewed, drank, and chewed. So,
When the spiritual master sees that the devotees are satisfied by eating Bhagavat Prasada,
when the spiritual master sees that the devotees are satisfied by eating Bhagavad Prasad,
he is satisfied.
he is
I
satisfied.
offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 4, Verse number 18. Kirata hunandra pulinda pulkasa abhira sumba yavana kasadaya yenecha papa yadapasraya sraya Sudayanti tasmai prabhavishnam namaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Kirata huna andra pulinda pulkasa abhira sumba yavana, members of the Kasa races, and even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord due to his being the supreme power, meaning Krishna as being the supreme power. I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, I think we did read 17.
Yeah, we did it yesterday. We didn't do it yesterday?
16 yesterday.
Okay, so we'll do 17. Okay. Tapasvino dana para yasasvino
Tapasudana paraya shashvino
manasvino mantra vida sumangala
manashino mantra vida sumangala
shemam navindanti vinaya darpanam
imam navindati vinayadapanam
tasmai subhadra Shravase Namo Namaha.
Tasmai Subhadra Stravasu Namo Namaha.
Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all-auspicious Lord Shri Krishna again and again, because the great learned sages, the great performers of charity, the great workers of distinction, the great philosophers and mystics, the great chanters of the Vedic hymns, and the great followers of Vedic principles cannot achieve any fruitful result without dedication of such qualities to the service of the Lord. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Advancement of learning, a charitable disposition, political, social, or religious leadership of human society, philosophical speculations, the practice of the yoga system, expertise in the Vedic rituals, and all similar high qualities in man serve one in the attainment of perfection only when they are employed in the service of the Lord. Without such dovetailing, all such qualities become sources of trouble for people in general. Everything can be utilized either for one's own sense gratification or in the service of others than oneself, then in the service of one other than oneself. There are two kinds of self-interest also, namely personal selfishness and extended selfishness. But there is no qualitative difference between personal and extended selfishness. Yeah, they're both selfishness. Theft for personal interest or for the family interest is of the same quality, namely criminal. A thief pleading not guilty because of committing theft not for personal interest but for the interest of society or country has never been excused by the established law of any country. People in general have no knowledge that the self-interest of a living being attains perfection only when such an interest coincides with the interests of the Lord. For example, what is the interest of maintaining body and soul together? One earns money for maintenance of the body, personal or social, but unless there is God consciousness, unless the body is being properly maintained to realize one's relation with God, all good efforts to maintain body and soul together are similar to the attempts of the animals to maintain body and soul together. The purpose of maintaining the human body is different from that of the animals. Similarly, the advancement of learning, economic development, philosophical research, study in the Vedic literature, or even the execution of pious activities like charity, opening hospitals, and the distribution of food grains, should be done in relation with the Lord. The aim of all such acts and endeavors must be the pleasure of the Lord and not the satisfaction of any other identity, individual or collective. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.27, the same principle is confirmed where it is said that whatever we may give in charity and whatever we may desire or whatever we may observe in austerity must be given over to the Lord or be done on His account only. The expert leaders of a godless human society cannot bring about a fruitful result in all their different attempts at educational advancement or economic development unless they are God conscious. And to become God conscious, one has to hear about the all-auspicious Lord as He is described in literature like the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all-auspicious Lord Shri Krishna again and again, because the great learned sages, the great performers of charity, the great workers of distinction, the great philosophers and mystics, the great chanters of the Vedic hymns, and the great followers of Vedic principles cannot achieve any fruitful result without dedication of such great qualities to the service of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, without Krishna consciousness, all other endeavors, even if they look good, sound good, feel good, but they're actually no good. But that's hard to accept for most people, because most people don't know the difference between personal or extended selfishness and pure devotional service. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita explains without any equivocation that one should do everything for Krishna. Yat kurosi yat asnasi yat johosi dadasi yat tapasyasi konteya. One should perform all activities, whatever you do. Yat kurosi yat asnasi, whatever you eat. Yat kurosi yat asnasi yat johosi, whatever you give away or give in charity. Yat johosi dadasi yat tapasyasi konteya, and whatever austerities you may perform. It should all be done for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu or Krishna. That is, and if one acts in that way, subha subha phaler evam mokshyasi karma bandhanai sanyasya yogi yuktatma vimukto mam pasyate. Therefore, everything auspicious and inauspicious are, in other words, purified. And one is liberated from the cycle of birth and death. So, this clear-cut explanation of the difference between selfish activity and Krishna conscious activity is the whole subject of Bhagavad Gita. So Arjuna was refusing to fight for personal interest based on family connections. But Krishna had to correct that mentality in his mind. Well, everyone's working like that, right, today. So it's this, in a sense, it's a hard message to sell to people because they're so attached. Therefore, in this verse, Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 18th chapter, 12th verse, Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavat Yakinchana Sarver Gunais Tatra Samasate Sura Harava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahad Guna Manoratana Sati Dhavato Vahi. One who has unflinching devotion for the personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of the demigods. It says unflinching devotion. But one who is not a devotee of the Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering on the mental plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring material energy. Well, this seems to be, in one way, too exclusive, right? Rather than being inclusive. This is the thing nowadays, everything has to be inclusive. But what they do is they include nonsense in their list of inclusions, and thus you end up with something that's contaminated. So, but here Krishna is not accepting nonsense. He says that basically saying only genuine devotees have good qualities. And other people, because they're hovering on a mental platform is aham mameti. Everything is I, me, and mine. Right? So that's different than everything for Krishna, or as it says, Krishna madarpanam astu. We should give everything to Krishna. So when it's aham mameti, people do everything for I, me, and mine. So we cannot be generally inclusive of selfishness, but we can be inclusive by helping everyone become Krishna conscious. So that's the point that's being made, that regardless of who you are, you have a chance of being Krishna conscious. It doesn't matter what family you're born in, what caste you're supposed to be, or what ethnicity. Everyone can become Krishna conscious in this lifetime if they have a human body. So, mamhi parthavi pasritya yepi su papa yunaha striya vaishas tatasudras tepi yanti param gatim. The 9th chapter, 32nd verse says very clearly that O son of Prita, Arjuna, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women or men who are Vaishyas and merchants, or men who are Sudras or workers, can attain the supreme destination. Prabhupada says, it is clearly declared here by the Supreme Lord that in devotional service there is no distinction between the lower and higher classes of people. That's a big point. And therefore, Krishna consciousness is inclusive because everybody has a chance to become Krishna conscious. No one is excluded if they're sincere. Doesn't matter what caste, what race. They're all included in Krishna's big tent umbrella. And so there's no distinction between lower and higher classes of people. In the material conception of life, there are such divisions. But for a person engaged in transcendental devotional service to the Lord, there are not. Everyone is eligible for the supreme destination. This is called inclusiveness. This is called equality. It doesn't matter what family you're born in, what education you have or no education, whatever your financial position may be. Everyone is welcome to make devotional service, to make devotional progress, and go back to Godhead. Everyone is eligible for the supreme destination. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4.18, which is the verse that we'll read tomorrow, it is stated that even the lowest, who are called chandalas or dog eaters, can be purified by association with a pure devotee. So the chandalas, the dog eaters, these are usually referred to as kasadaya. The people who have very limited mustache on their upper lip, and no other facial hair, except maybe their eyebrows. So these are the Mongolians and the Chinese, and other races of people that fit into that description. So therefore, devotional service and the guidance of a pure devotee are so strong that there is no discrimination between the lower and higher classes of men. Anyone can take to it. So that's inclusive. That's complete inclusiveness. But we don't lower the bar. The bar is, as far as human nature goes, it's high, but it's easy to attain. You just give up sense gratification and chant Hare Krishna, and you can attain the greatest goal of human striving, and that is to go back to Godhead and be free completely of the influence of the modes of material nature, of time, of lust, anger, greed, etc. To be completely free of all those things, love and hate, different dualities, and have a one-track mind, that is to please Krishna. So The most simple man taking shelter of a pure devotee can be purified by proper guidance. According to the different modes of material nature, men are classified in the modes of goodness, the brahmanas, the mode of passion, kshatriyas or administrators, the mixed modes of passion and ignorance, the vaishyas or merchants, and the mode of ignorance, the sudras or workers. Those lower than them are called chandalas, and they are born in sinful families. Generally, the association of those born in sinful families is not accepted by the higher classes. But the process of devotional service is so strong that the pure devotees of the Supreme Lord can easily enable people of all the lower classes to attain the highest perfection of life. This is possible only when one takes shelter of Krishna, as indicated here by the word vyapasritya. One has to take shelter completely of Krishna. Then one can become a much greater than great jnanis and yogis. So, the jnanis and the yogis and the karma yogis, they all have a self-interest or a selfish interest. They want personal liberation, they want complete detachment, and they want to merge into something impersonal, or have tremendous material powers, or be elevated to heavenly planets for enhanced sense gratification. But the devotee has no such desires. The devotee's mind is wiped clean of all those desires, and all those desires are replaced by transcendental desires to please the Lord. This is the perfection of human life. If we take to unselfish devotional service with no personal motive, then and that always being guided by a genuine devotee, we can easily, and I mean easily, go back to Godhead in this lifetime. Okay, so therefore the symptom of such person, manmanabhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mam evaisasi yuktvaivam atmanam mat parayana. So the 9th chapter 34th verse says, engage your mind always in thinking of me, Krishna says. Become my devotee, offer obeisances to me, and worship me, being completely absorbed in me. Surely you will come to me. So being completely absorbed in me. When it says, Mam evaisi yuktvaivam. Yuktvaivam means being absorbed completely. So that's what we're trying to do every day. Just absorb ourselves completely in thinking and glorifying and spreading the glories of the Lord. Then Krishna says, Atmanam mat parayana. Then your soul will be completely devoted to me. So this is an important verse, and the same thing is repeated at the end of the 18th chapter. Prabhupada says, in this verse, it is clearly indicated that Krishna consciousness is the only means of being delivered from the clutches of this contaminated material world. Sometimes unscrupulous commentators distort the meaning of what is clearly stated here, that all devotional service should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Unfortunately, unscrupulous commentators divert the mind of the reader to that which is not at all feasible. Such commentators do not know that there is no difference between Krishna's mind and Krishna himself. Krishna is not an ordinary human being. He is absolute truth. His body, his mind, and he himself are one and absolute. It is stated in the Kurma Purana, as it is quoted by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami in his Anubhasya comments on Chaitanya Charitamrita, 5th chapter, Adi Lila, verses 41 to 48. Deha dehi vibedo yam nesware vidyate kvachit. This means that there is no difference in Krishna, the Supreme Lord, between himself and his body. But because the commentators do not know the science of Krishna, they hide Krishna and divide his personality from his mind or from his body. Although this is sheer ignorance of the science of Krishna, some men make profit out of misleading people. Wow. Heavy statements by Prabhupada. So, yeah, where there was one rascal in Orissa, he claimed to be Bhagavan Krishna. And he would organize Rasa Leela dances. So married people would bring their wives, men would bring their wives, or husband would bring the wife, and offer the wife to this rascal to dance with in the Rasa dance and engage in all kinds of abominable activity. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a magistrate of the Jagannath Puri temple, and he was also a pure devotee. And when this nonsense was brought to his attention, he went to see this man who was supposedly Narayana. And as soon as he entered his hut, he said, "Oh," he referred to him in his name. I forget the exact name. Not Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but his birth name. Anyway, he referred to him by his name. He said, "You have come so that I can make you the emperor of the world." So Bhaktivinoda Thakur had never met him before, and he walks in before he says anything. This mystic yogi knows his name and says, "I will make you the emperor of the world." So it's a little disconcerting because, how does he know who he is? So, so he has some mystical power, no doubt. He had some mystical powers, no doubt about it. And then they got into a little discussion. At one point, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, "Well, if you are Jagannath, why don't you go to the Jagannath temple?" And he said, "Oh, that Jagannath is wood, and I am flesh," or something like that. He made some kind of statement like that, and that was it. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, "You are complete nonsense." Why? Because he was differentiating, just like it says here. But because the commentators do not know the science of Krishna, they hide Krishna and divide his personality from his mind and from his body. Although this is sheer ignorance of the science of Krishna, some men make profit out of misleading people. So Bhaktivinoda had him arrested right away because he made such a distinction about Lord Jagannath. So after that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur and his wife and his children, they all got a severe fever. And then his wife got upset with him and said, "See, we're all going to die because you put Narayana in jail." And Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, "I don't care if we die, but that rascal is going to stay in jail." He didn't budge at all. So, but still, it was very disconcerting because they got very sick, and and it's his wife and kids. So imagine, but he wouldn't waver. So finally, the day of the court came for this rascal, and when he came into the court, he was very, haughty, and he was a very arrogant guy. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, after hearing the case, he gave a judgment that they were going to cut off his hair because he had long dreadlocks, And usually yogis, they concentrate their mystical powers in their hair. And so Bhaktivinoda Thakur ordered a barber to be brought into the courtroom to cut his hair off. And the barber came and he refused to do it. He said, I cannot do that to Narayana. So Bhaktivinoda got a little upset. He said, okay, then I'll do it. So he gets the scissors and cuts the man's hair off, right? And everyone is like aghast because they think, oh, he's definitely going to die now. Bhaktivinoda and his family. But no, they didn't die. And he sentenced the guy to go to jail for, pretending to be God and dancing with other people's wives and all that stuff. And eventually, in a few months, that rascal died in jail. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur and his family did not suffer anymore. So these are the activities of a genuine acharya, a powerful acharya. He's not intimidated by these mystic yogis or anybody. And he takes the necessary, because he was a magistrate, head magistrate, he took the necessary measures to take this person away from organized society because he's corrupting people. So then Prabhupada says, there are some who are demoniac. They also think of Krishna, but enviously, just like King Kamsa, Krishna's uncle. He was also thinking of Krishna always, but he thought of Krishna as his enemy. He was always in anxiety, wondering when Krishna would come to kill him. That kind of thinking will not help us. One should be thinking of Krishna in devotional service, that is bhakti. One should cultivate the knowledge of Krishna continuously. What is the favorable cultivation? It is to learn from a bona fide teacher. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we have several times explained that his body is not material, but is eternal, blissful knowledge. This kind of talk about Krishna will help one become a devotee. Understanding Krishna otherwise, from the wrong source, will prove fruitless. One should therefore engage his mind in the eternal form, the primal form of Krishna, who, with conviction in his heart that Krishna is the Supreme, he should engage himself in worship. There are hundreds of thousands of temples in India for the worship of Krishna, and devotional service is practiced there. When such practice is made, one has to offer obeisances to Krishna. One should lower his head before the deity and engage his mind, his body, his activities, everything. That will make one fully absorbed in Krishna without deviation. This will help and transfer to and help one transfer to the Krishna Loka. One should not be deviated by unscrupulous commentators. One must engage in the 9 different processes of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting about Krishna. Pure devotional service is the highest achievement of human society. So there it is. Then Prabhupada says, there's a beautiful poem about Krishna in which it is clearly stated that any person who is engaged in the worship of demigods is most unintelligent and cannot achieve at any time the supreme award of Krishna. The devotee in the beginning may sometimes fall from the standard, but still he should be considered superior to all other philosophers and yogis. One who always engages in Krishna consciousness should be understood to be a perfectly saintly person. His accidental, non-devotional activities will diminish, and he will soon be situated, without any doubt, in complete perfection. The pure devotee has no actual chance to fall down, because the Supreme Godhead personally takes care of his devotees. Therefore, the intelligent person should take directly to the process of Krishna consciousness and happily live in the material world. he will eventually receive the supreme award of Krishna. Wow. Such encouraging words by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Grantaraj ki jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. And it says also that demigod worshippers can never attain at any time Krishna. Wow. Prabhupada says, any person who is engaged in the worship of demigods is most unintelligent and cannot achieve at any time the supreme award of Krishna. Wow. I think we should put this one up. Huh? Okay. It's in the 9th chapter, last verse, 32nd, no, 9th chapter, what is it? 34th verse? Yeah. And in the last paragraph. Huh? Well, let's see. Let's see, said the blind man. You want to start from it says, there's a beautiful poem about Krishna in which it is clearly stated that any person who is engaged in the worship of demigods is most unintelligent and cannot achieve at any time the supreme award of Krishna. What that beautiful poem is, who wrote it, I don't know. It's another tease by Prabhupada. I'm sure we can find it. No, I have an older edition of Bhagavad Gita. If you look in a newer edition, it might be there. They might have put that in there. Okay.